Hello everyone, my name is Wally Singh and my metro number is 271679. I'm coming from Group 2. Today, I'm going to talk about the effects of COVID-19 pandemic towards small and medium enterprise (SME) in Malaysia. Currently, the pandemic has a high death toll and has spread to nearly every region on Earth. The outbreak has a massive multiplier effect on the health sector, causing harm to all aspects of life, including the global economy, social, cultural activities, and the entire human population. The outbreak has a negative effect on the global economy, industries, business, and SPMs. This also has a disproportionate impact on the small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) due to their reliance on supply chains that are nearing a slowdown, with increasing the raw material delays and an overwhelming readiness to adapt how SMEs execute transactions. This main study examines the effects of COVID-19 pandemic towards small and medium enterprise (SME) in the different sectors. Therefore, this study also emphasized the challenges that faced by SME during the COVID-19. Then, our study to discuss the SME strategy dealing with the COVID-19, we prepared a Google form of an online survey questionnaire to the SME. Section of demography of SME, which consists of the company operation duration, company location, number of employees, and sector or industry. Section for effects of COVID-19 pandemic towards SME is asking about the status of business operation during the pandemic of COVID-19 in the financial aspect and in the operation aspect. Next, for the section challenges that faced by SME during the COVID-19, we will survey on how was the COVID-19 impacted to the SME business overall. Did the sales value of the product or service decrease during the COVID-19? Has SME's innovation increased during the COVID-19 pandemic? Did SME's company manage to retain the wealth of investors during COVID-19? And did the SME struggling with their company expenses during the COVID-19? Lastly, we have the section for the SME strategy dealing with the COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic is a global outbreak that has a massive social and economic impact on nations. The different trajectories of online and offline economic activity suggest that the participation in the digital economy is critical for the SMEs if they are to survive and prosper in a post-COVID environment. The epidemic had the greatest impact on Malaysia SMEs, with over 32,000 having to close their doors. During the MCO, 84% of SMEs reported the problem with internet connectivity and connects with the customer and suppliers. Many SME also complained about the bad work from home connection, low level of back-end digitization among the SMEs prior to COVID result in decreased productivity, efficiency, and lackluster company operation during the MCO. SME account for 95% of all firms globally and 60% of employment according to the World Trade Organization. The government and Bank Negara Malaysia provided 4.5 billion ringgit Malaysia to support Malaysia SME, especially the micro enterprise. First, 3 billion ringgit Malaysia will be added to the 5 billion ringgit Malaysia SRF for SME. The fund interest rate will drop from 3.75% to 3.5%. The second program boasts economic sector facilities grants by 1 billion ringgit Malaysia to 6.8 billion ringgit Malaysia to increase the SME finance. Third, 500 million ringgit Malaysia in the microcredit scheme soft loan will be increased to the 700 million ringgit Malaysia. Fourth, the project is available to the child care centers, taxi and bus drivers, creative enterprise, and interest retailers. SME with less than 4 years company and experience can use the Credit Guarantee Malaysia Berhad, BIS Mula I, and BIS Wanita I programs to obtain up to 300,000 ringgit Malaysia. Lastly, the Syarikat Jaminan Pembiayaan Perniagaan (SJPP) guarantee 5 billion ringgit Malaysia and boosts SME loan coverage from 70% to 80%. The data and finding based on our research result, it indicates the sector or industry that is examining through the data collection, such as the wholesale and retail, food and beverage, hotel, tourism, sport and entertainment, automotive, manufacturing, logistics and transportation, and other industries. The wholesale and retail sectors account for 20% of the 50 responses. The food and beverage industry received 24% of the votes, or the 12 out of 50. There are two responses out of 50 from the hotel and tourism industry, and the sport and entertainment industry have three responses. The automotive industry was also investigated, with five responses from the industry including in this study. This research yielded five responses where the manufacturing sector is in the industry sector. In this study, one response came from the logistics and transportation. The table shows the effect faced by SME on the status of business operations during the pandemic of COVID-19 in financial aspects. Reduction in sales and profits, unstable market demand, customer interest change, low cash flow, and low turnover are the five main effects faced by SME in Malaysia during the pandemic of COVID-19 in financial aspects. Based on the result, the main impact faced by SME during the pandemic of COVID-19 in financial aspect is the reduction in sales and profit as chosen by 43 responses out of 50 responses. Furthermore, unstable market demand is the second higher effect selected by the SME. The results show there are 32 responses out of 50 responses that choose it. The COVID-19 epidemic has volatile demand for the SME goods and services. Moreover, the result shows that 25 responses chose low cash flow as the third effect selected by the SME that affects the business operation in the financial aspects. Cash flow is being devastated on both ends for many SME. In addition, the chart showed that 23 respondents indicated low turnover affects the business financial performance during MCO. The customer interest change is a minor effect affecting the SME business operation during the pandemic of COVID-19 in financial aspects. There are significant effects of business operation during MCO on the operational status of the business operation aspect. The four primary operational consequences are as follows: uncertain supply chain activity, shortened operating hours, raw material supply, and digital technology adoption. The main consequence chosen by 42 responses out of 50 is shortening in operating hours. As per this situation, 84% of SME are affected by this issue. Malaysia implemented MCO 1.0 during March through May of 2020, closing malls, workplaces, and industries and allowing only essential goods such as medical and grocery to remain available. Next, the second higher factor selected by the SME is uncertain supply chain activity. 36% of the SME believe this issue has an impact on their business operation due to MCO. With the pandemic remaining a significant danger and a handful of locations and business under lockdown, supply chain interruption remains significant. Most enterprises are subjected to unfavorable impact in the short or long term. Thus, raw material supply also became one of the effects in this business operating during MCO. This effect is supported by 36% of the total. Lastly, MCO ordered the shutdown of non-essential enterprises and forbade widespread public activities. As a result, digital technology adoption has become an issue for SMEs. The bar chart reveals that 32% of SMEs assume this is one of the effects of an outbreak. In summary, SMEs are experiencing significant operational impact during the pandemic COVID-19. After surviving the pandemic, they will be more skilled and constantly prepared for the threat. In order to better understand the challenges that's faced by them during COVID-19, we surveyed 50 SMEs from Malaysia, a network of 1.2 million SMEs. The survey was carried out between June 1, 2022 until July 1, 2022. The timing of the survey enabled us to confirm company owners' expectation at a crucial juncture when both the development of COVID-19 and the government's reaction during the difficulty. Based on our research, the decline was particularly sharp in Malaysia, where 40% were major slowdown, 30% slightly darkened, 16% has positive impact, 14% of firms were completely stopped, and no one mentioned there was no impact in their business overall. The challenges also vary across industry, with wholesale and retail, food and beverage, hotel, tourism, sport and entertainment, automotive, manufacturing, logistics and transportation, and others. In contrast, finance, professional services, and real estate-related business experiences less disruption as this industry were better able to move to remote production. Based on our research, the sales volume was affected significantly in Malaysia, where 56% of respondents said that there was a significant decrease in their sales volume of products or services during COVID-19. Only 40% of respondents decreased but not significantly in their sales volume, and 4% of respondents said that they have not impact. Lockdown has damaged clients' income levels in many nations, which is why sales are declining. Products for manufacturing and services are becoming less and less in demand. The company sales and turnover are being negatively impacted by the low demand. Innovation has become a challenge to all present business seeking to thrive in a world defined by competition, technology development, and periodic crises. Based on our research result, the increased innovation during the pandemic was giving a partial effect to SME in Malaysia, where 48% of respondents said they significantly increased their innovation during pandemic. Only 34% of respondents have not made any changes on their innovation, and another 18% of respondents decreased. The development of telecommunications, information technology, and the internet has altered the global corporate climate. The availability of information is the cornerstone of economic life and enterprise. As financial markets and investors continue to grapple with the aftermath of COVID-19 outbreak, there has been a dramatic drop in company investment, especially for SME. Based on the data obtained, the higher percentage or 70% of responses were slightly affected by how the company managed to retain the wealth of investors during the pandemic. Another 22% of responses are unable to retain the wealth of investors, and 7% of responses have no impact on it. The effect of the COVID-19 crisis on SMEs in 70 countries and quantifying each firm liquidity shortage before and after COVID was affected the wealth of the shareholders. Cash flow, liquidity, receivable delays, and diminishing revenue are all examples of financial concerns. Based on the table above, the sample demographics show a higher number of agree respondents, followed by the strongly agree on the financial management in reducing the labor cost expenses and loans, which represent a percentage of 48% and 26% respectively among the data. According to the most recent Department of Statistics numbers, when businesses seek extra loans to support their cash flow, the difficulty in securing such loans worsen their condition. They are worried about employee salaries and the social security obligation, as well as the repayment on commercial bank loans. Overall, the percentage of pay cuts anticipated to be adopted by various types of workers and organizations that have had to accept pay cutbacks. As a result, one must cut labor costs and borrow less to be in the business throughout this epidemic. Despite their importance, SMEs are more economically vulnerable than larger firms since they have limited assets and cash reserves. as well as lower level of output. Therefore, the COVID-19 outbreak has had significant impact on them. Most of the SMEs agree with the reconfigured disruption of supply chain structure, which represented 44% respectively. Meanwhile, only two SMEs disagree with the strategy among 50 respondents. To become more competitive on the world arena during the COVID-19, it is vital to increase the combination of local firms into the global value chain and supply chain. These important RCEP members give a much bigger chain of regulation for the first batch of participation, which will enhance the unification of nations within the field of trade and broaden the scope of activity. Bonds and economic cooperation offer up a larger market for the local region at the right moment. Business adopt digital tactics to overcome the limitation of traditional revenue sources. Companies that do not participate in the tech transformation will struggle to survive. Much alone develop as more enterprises digitize. The table shows most SMEs agree with the strategy to digital transformation, with 21 among 50 respondents, representing 42% respectively. Even though there are many who agree with the digital transformation, there is also disagreement with the strategy among the SMEs. From the data we collect from the SMEs, there are disagree and natural about the digital transformation in their business. Business thrived during the period of the Industrial Revolution, requiring and supplying more items daily. The key to surviving present and future crises is digital transformation. While the COVID-19 is largely regarded as having established a digital center of gravity, SME continue to confront several problems. According to the finding of this paper, we have identified the several effects and challenges that SME in Malaysia might encounter during the pandemic COVID-19. The different stages of COVID-19 has brought different impact to SMEs. According to the Small and Medium Enterprise Association, Samantha, 34% of SMEs in Malaysia were facing a 20% decrease in sales between 2019 and 2020. This situation happened because the government had launched the Movement Control (MCO) policy to limit the mobility and shut down the commerce. Industrial, government, and educational institutions to control the spread of COVID-19. Due to the appearance of MCO, the business operation of SME in Malaysia was affected in financial aspects. The uncertainty of a MCO and pandemic COVID-19 has caused SMEs in Malaysia face a reduction in sales and profit. The first recommendation for SMEs to overcome the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic is the government should restart the policy of extending the short-term financing of SMEs to a more longer period to assist the business recovery without further burdening them with the cost of servicing their loans and financing, which will indirectly reduce their cost of business survival. Although the COVID-19 is already transitioning to the endemic phase in Malaysia, the inflation rate keeps increasing, which led to the increased raw material costs, operation expenses, and a tighter profit margin. The second recommendation for SMEs to survive in this pandemic is the Bank Negara Malaysia should keep the overnight policy rate (OPR) the same and should not increase the rate. The business will be unable to survive if BNM increase the OPR because it will increase the interest rate, and finally it will lead to the purchasing power from the public to drop as increasing in interest rate will increase the cost of the products, which will reduce the demand from the public. The low purchasing power will affect the revenue of the SMEs business, which make them unable to cover their overhead expenses and face collapse. Thirdly, the SMEs owners might miss out on virtual available financial support or not take a full advantage of support due to the lack of awareness of all these types of government incentives. We think that the government should create a campaign or promote through the social media to raise the awareness of SMEs owners regarding the financial support and how they can benefit from it. Moreover, the government also can create a teaching session for them on how to connect with the investors or bankers to get investments from them. Then, we already mentioned the digital transformation as one of the important strategies for the SMEs to improve their business operation, productivity, and reduce costs. Hence, it is important for the government to support the digital transformation of SMEs business. Government must provide an affordable and high-quality digital infrastructure, such as a stable internet facility, and also raise the awareness to digitize their business. SME business must improve in digital solutions such as data protection and privacy. Cybersecurity and protection as against digital fraud is essential. Failure to solve this concern will undermine the organization and customer faith and digital solution. Lastly, we should suggest promoting Malaysian SMEs business access to digital marketplace to ensure they are able and undertake the transaction with customer without fear of infection and can continue to operate during the lockdown period. It is essential for the government to support SMEs in the process of digitization by offering better clarify, openness and security in their access to use the digital platform, nobility e-commerce and payment and financial methods. It is important to promote the use and utilization of ICT through a mobile application, ranging from accounting to inventory management and marketing to financing access. In doing so, entrepreneurs and MSMEs from the vulnerable backgrounds must be given the special care as they are disproportionately impacted by the digital divide. In conclusion, a business must adapt in order to remain competitive. Entrepreneurs must be dynamic in their business management in order to maintain their company's market competitiveness. For the sake of their business future, they must be vigilant for opportunities and astute in decision making. Assessing business risk either internally or externally is essential for determining a company's position in a market and predicting risk and uncertainty that may be able to prevent business and model failure. Due to their limited sources and desire to survive, SMEs typically launch with a straightforward business strategy. Consequently, the organization structure is less complex and utilizes less resources. Thank you.